Hey there, survivors. Cougar here, checking back in on Buoyancy by Devs on a Boat. It is an early access game. It's been in development for about 2 years now, and the devs have been making steady progress, steady improvements, adding a lot of cool new stuff. And I check back in on it every once in a while because I enjoy the game, for one thing, but also because I've been very impressed with the Devs on a Boat's early access development. They've been doing a really good job, I think. They release dev logs with every update, telling you, explaining the new stuff and telling you what they're working on for the next update, etc., etc. So this is a city builder with a twist. You start with one little town center right here, and you gradually add to the city. This is not a large city. This is kind of still a beginner city. We've only got about 35 residents right now. A large city can have up to hundreds of residents, 100, 200. I think the largest I've ever had is like 300 residents. And it just keeps growing and growing. And I just wanted to start with one that's a little bit more built up so we can talk about the kind of stuff that you'd see in regular city builders, where you're building things to do stuff like a greenhouse. This is a greenhouse, and we grow grains there. The grains are processed in a mill, like this one right here, and are used in a bakery along with fresh water, which is processed at evaporators, like these ones right here, to make bread to feed our people. And we also use the grains over here in the brewery to make beer to keep our people happy. See the front of the brewery there. See our brewer down in there working. Cool. And then we've got a storehouse here and a workshop here to keep our buildings in good repair. We've got a medicine hut here to keep our people healthy. A smelter for processing scrap metal into metal. And then, of course, you've got your gatherers. So we've got some fishers over here who are, fishing. We've got foragers over here who are pulling up kelp and uh, trash from the surface of the sea. Some scavengers who are bringing in scrap wood, driftwood. Oh, someone just died. Two villagers died from old age. And you can see, actually, let me just digress for a second here, because you can see that with all the knife and fork icons over everybody's heads, we're experiencing a bit of a food crisis here. That's because we were just raided by pirates and they stole almost all of our food because we had no military defenses set up yet. You can build guard towers, harpoon towers, uh, water cannons. You can build ranger stations for training up ranged defenders and guard houses for training up melee defenders, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of what we're dealing with now. I was explaining those scavengers are bringing in driftwood and scrap metal that they get from the surface of the sea. Over here, we've got some deep divers who are bringing up soil to be used in our greenhouses. We've got a harpooner who's shut down for the time being because there are no whales in sight. We've got a trapper who's putting his traps down to bring up shellfish, etc. We've got a recycler that's taking the trash that the scavengers and the foragers are collecting and turning it into plastic to be used in construction, etc., etc. So I wanted to show you kind of a city in progress before we start a new game. We're going to start with just a town center and try to build it up from there. Let's do that right now. One of the things that's been added recently is this belief system. So each belief offers different pros and cons, and you have to weigh which kind of stuff, how you want to build your city. You start with different amounts of starting resources, a different amount of population, and then some buildings which are going to be either locked or unique buildings that are only available for that belief system. So there's the balancing act when you choose what belief that you want to pursue. But for now, let's get started with a new city. So here we go. We are a tiny little raft in a large, large ocean. We're going to move the raft around and try to pick up resources and build up our city. The first thing we're interested in doing is finding some survivors to add to our city. There's a raft right over there. We're going to head in that direction. Let's just see what else is around here. A sunken brewery. We should probably head over there soon to pull up some beer to keep people happy. It is hard keeping people happy until you have built your own brewery. Let me quickly explain what's going on with the HUD here. Over on the left-hand side, these are your resources. We've got wood, metal, plastic, scrap metal, which is processed into metal, junk, which is processed into plastic, and then dirt from the sea floor to use in our greenhouses. Under miscellaneous, you've got fresh water. We're going to have to build some evaporators to make that. We've got grain, which is grown in the greenhouses, flour, which is produced at a mill. We had one of those on the old city that I just showed you. Whale carcasses for harvesting into blubber and meat. Crude oil, which is processed into gasoline. And then under food, we've got some seaweed, fish, bread that comes from the bakery, meat, which comes from the whale carcasses, and shellfish, which comes from the trappers. You saw some of that. We start with a little bit of beer here, but that's going to go fast, so we're going to have to do something about that. This is a drifting resource. Let's just grab that really quickly. That was 5 pieces of plastic, washed up, and will now be carried to the town center for storage and use. Hello, survivors. Yes, we've encountered some survivors. We can either rescue them, leave them be, demand resources, take them prisoner, or eat them. We're not going to be eating any people here. That's not going to happen on this playthrough. If you're here for the cannibalism, look elsewhere. You can leave right now. We ain't doing it. So we've just rescued 4 survivors. They joined our city and they brought 4 junk with them. That's great. Let's just move around. I'm looking. Trash piles are good. Driftwood we definitely need because we're going to be doing a lot of construction at the start. But what I'd really like to find is some kelp forest. There's a kelp forest over there. Even better than that would be a kelp forest with a lot of fish swimming around in it, so we could do both. But not. Okay, so in that case, let us bring our city over to the driftwood pile first, and then as soon as we get there, we could start building. We're going to be building up some buildings now, adding to the city, but I don't like doing it on the move if I can avoid it. It makes for messy construction. All right, so let's get to the driftwood pile and then go to our build menu, and we're going to need some scavengers. My cities, for some reason, always seem to end up looking like a beetle for some reason, but it seems to work. So we've got a scavenger, and now we're going to build a forager, and we're also going to build a fisher, one fisherman off the side here. And we might even build 2. Let's see how much wood we have left at the end of this. The good news is we're parked right on top of a driftwood resource, so we'll be gathering wood as we use it to do this new construction. Up here at the top, you've got your citizen display. We've got 14 citizens right now. Their happiness is 93%. Their nourishment is 98%. That'll be going down fast. Their hunger is 0. That's fine. Thirst, cousin rating, you don't want your city to get too inbred. You want to keep adding outsiders to your city so that you're not just constantly reproducing with the same genetic group. Okay, so now we've got a scavenger built, and this orange arc, the yellow arc coming off it, indicates that they're gathering from the driftwood pile that we're sitting on. We have built all 3 of the things that we started building, and we've still got 14 wood left. So I think I'm going to build another fisher to do more fishing. And they will constantly fish and slowly bring up fish as they do it. But we can also come across, as I mentioned, a fishing resource spot where we can double the fish intake. At the start, there are more, so these are more survivor rafts over here. You don't want to grow too quickly because you want to be able to feed everybody, and you want to make sure that everybody has fresh water and stays happy with beer. So you got to kind of pace your growth. You don't just want to go crazy and pick up every survivor raft that you see. We may go pick up another one after this. Now that we've got 2 fishers built, we'll have some fish coming in. There are 2 game speeds. We're at normal right now. I could speed it up just to get this harvesting going a little bit faster. We're at 53% of the driftwood pile left. And I think as soon as we get that pulled up, I'm going to zoom out and see what else is around here. Now, fishing spots are a little hard to see, and that's understandable because you got to be pretty close to them to see the fish down there. Oh, kelp forest is better than nothing, but yeah, maybe we'll head back that way. But let's grab a little of this trash first because we're going to need plastic to do a lot of this construction as well. We're down to 13% in the driftwood pile. It's almost done. 6%. And here comes the rain, which is fine. Okay, we've used up that driftwood pile. Let's move over to the trash. And now we've got the scavenger bringing in scrap metal from the trash pile, and the forager bringing in junk, which is going to be turned into plastic once we get a building to do that. What's the building called? I forget. It's a recycler. The recycler does that. But for now, we're going to stay at fast speed and just try to harvest all this stuff up. Checking out our food situation here, we've got 33 seaweed and 17 fish. That's not going to last long. We've got no fresh water. Well, we got 10 fresh water, but that might as well be none. That's going to go fast as well. 5% of the trash pile left, and we are done. I'm going to head back over this way. I don't think we're ready to pick up another survivor raft yet, but we will head for the kelp forest over here to add to our kelp food supply. Kelp is the least satisfying of all the foods, but, you know, it'll keep them from starving to death. We've bumped into the survivor's raft. I don't really want to pick them up right now. We're going to leave them be. Let them go on their way. And in the meantime, what I like about this game is that it can be slow paced, but in a way that your brain always has to be working. You always have to be thinking about, okay, what comes next? What's next is there's a trash pile over there, not great. Drifting resources that we can pick up. Drifting resources are actually kind of important in the early game. There's another driftwood pile over there that we're probably going to want because we're going to be doing a lot of construction here in this early game, in the early part of building up the city. Boy, there's just not, I don't see a single fish resource around here, not one. They are pretty rare, and as I mentioned, they're hard to see. There could be some around us. We're just not seeing them. There's one, school of fish, past that other survivor's raft. And we've finished up with this kelp forest, so let's head over there and get our fishers working at double speed to feed our peeps. You have to keep an eye, upper left-hand corner, resources, 343 of 600 storage. So right now, the only storage we've got is at the town center. We can build storehouses later on to increase our storage capacity. We can also upgrade. I'm going to slow it down again. We're still going fast speed. I'm going to slow it down so I can talk about stuff for a second. We can also upgrade our town center's storage capacity here. We're going to need 30 plastic to do that. We're down to 5 plastic here, and we can increase that. I think what's next on the agenda in terms of building is probably going to be one of those recyclers. So let's get a recycler. Every building you add to the city increases its mass and slows it down, depending on how many people you have to row. And people will be assigned to different tasks, but when you order the city to move, they may set those tasks aside temporarily in order to move the city around. And then later on, you can build an engine, and you will, over here on the left-hand side, we will bring up crude oil. We will harvest crude oil and then build a refinery to turn it into gasoline to power the engine that we're going to build to help us move around even faster. A motor is required basically for the larger cities. Once you get up to around 100 population, you'd better have a refinery down and be able to send gas to your motor, or you're never going to get anywhere. It's going to take you forever to move from place to place. We've still got 32 wood on us, which means we could build something else. I think for the time being, I'm going to build a little spacer platform here. Platforms, your citizens move faster when they're moving across a platform, and what I like to use them for is to kind of reserve space. Later on, we're probably going to want to build a guard tower near the town center so that its radius covers the town center. But for the time being, we'll just put a platform there to kind of reserve that space for a guard tower. After that, we're going to want okay, great. Our recycler is built. Our citizens are bringing junk over to the recycler to be turned into plastic. I think next we got 27 wood left. Next, we're going to build a smelter for turning scrap metal into metal. Now, smelters are what are called fire starters. So some buildings are kind of neutral in that respect. They are neither likely to start a fire nor are they likely to catch fire. A smelter is a fire starter, so you don't want to build any fire vulnerable buildings next to it. When you look at the build menu, there are little indicators that tell you, like if I hover over the smelter here, you see in the lower right hand corner it says fire starter and pollution creator. So what you don't want is to build an evaporator is also a fire starter, and a greenhouse is flammable. So you don't want to build a fire starter right next to a flammable building because they'll constantly be catching fire. As I mentioned, there are defensive towers that you can build, one of those being a water cannon, and water cannons are good for putting out fires, but also for defense of the city. So we're going to want to build one of those eventually. The fishing spot here has been exhausted. I'm just going to slide us over to pick up that drifting resource real quick, and then decide where we're going to go next. Driftwood pile, we're down to 5 wood, so I think we should probably think about getting some more wood. Let's do that. We're going to bump into these survivors. We're okay on food. We've got 120 seaweed and 58 fish. So I think we might actually detour and go ahead and pick up these survivors so that we have more hands to work our stuff. 4 survivors joined the city, and they brought 4 pieces of wood with them, which is good because we need wood. I'm going to go ahead and speed time up again. Right now, we've only got 1 scavenger. That's actually not ideal. If we grab a little bit more wood, I may build another one. Yeah, let's do that. Another scavenger. And maybe even another forager as well. Another survivor raft, trash pile, drifting resource, destroyed ship with that's scrap metal and crude oil over there. Destroyed ship, that's just scrap metal. A trading post, we have nothing really to trade, so not interested in that. Another one, there's another city over there, that's Buchar. Our second scavenger has been built, so we'll slide the city over so that he can access the driftwood pile that the first one's working on right now. It's starting to rain. Okay, so what next? Our smelter has been built. We're just waiting on some scrap metal to come in to get that going. Here it comes. And I think we should probably think about, in order to build a greenhouse, we're going to need soil from the seafloor. So let's build a deep diver here. They're going to bring up soil and other things from the seafloor, notably crude oil. And maybe, yeah, let's do another fisher as well. Nah, we're out of wood and we've depleted this wood resource. So we need to find something somewhere else to go. A trash pile is kind of interesting. We're not having a lot of luck on this early stuff. Trash pile way over there, but I think we'll have more luck this direction. We're gonna have to actually avoid those survivors so we don't bump into them and they want us to pick them up. Spin this around so our beetle is facing the right way. Oh, we accidentally bumped into them. No, I'm sorry guys, we can't help you. We're just barely making it as is. I think we're off to a good start in terms of what we've got here. What we need to start thinking about next is probably a greenhouse, I think, once we get that deep diver built and we start bringing up some soil. Here at the trash pile, we've got our foragers bringing in trash to make plastic. We've got our scavengers bringing in scrap metal to make metal. And people are eating up our food, which is good. We want them to stay full and happy. You can see, so up here in the upper right-hand corner, as I mentioned, this is our citizens, how they're doing. We're starting to lose happiness. We need to get some beer and do other things. There are other ways to get happiness as well. And then nourishment. Their bellies are full, but they're not full of good stuff. They're full of... Oh, let me slow down. Slow time down again. Their bellies are full of kelp and seaweed, which is not ideal. We're going to have to get a bakery built. Destroyed ship, destroyed ship. There's a rotting whale. That's a dead whale way off in the distance there. And we don't have a harpooner, so we can't do anything with that yet anyway. Let's just go over to this trash pile and see what else we can see from over there. Checking our resources, we're down to 3 beer. So when the beer is gone, people are going to start getting really unhappy, and we're going to have to do something about that. We did see a couple of sunken breweries off the top when we first started, but with no compass, it's hard to remember where to find the things you see. Oh, what was that? I just saw, kelp forest. Got 171 kelp. I'd prefer to find some fish. Trash pile. Well, we're on a trash pile now. Okay. Driftwood? Nope. Trash pile. Trash pile. Destroyed ship. The ocean is randomly generated each time you start. You're going to get different amounts of resources. We've got a fairly low amount of wood. I'm really looking around for wood right now. City has gained 1 tech point, and a trash pile has been depleted. Tech points are relatively new. Not really sure how those come into play. I haven't messed around with those yet. I imagine you use them to unlock stuff, but I don't know. As I said, all this stuff in the beliefs and the tech stuff is all new, so I'm still learning about how all that stuff works. For lack of anything better to do, we'll go over and get more stuff off this trash pile, but that's the dead whale there. We can't really make use of him at this time. So, plus that stuff has a chance of making you sick, and we don't have a medicine hut, so we're not going to be harvesting any rotting whale carcass. Another kelp forest here, but I mean, we'll go over and get some more kelp if we got nothing better to do. But I really want the fish. You have to be pretty close to fish resources to actually see them, which makes sense, right? They're under the sea. but we haven't really seen any yet. Okay, that trash pile's done. Let's head over to the kelp forest, and you guys are going to be eating kelp for a while. And then we got to think about what to build next. I think we need to get a greenhouse down. We don't have enough wood to do that, unfortunately. I'm still looking for a driftwood resource. Stop here, bring up some kelp, and let's see if moving the city a little bit opened up some new stuff for us to harvest. Drifting resource, drifting resource, drifting resource, survivors, destroyed ship we don't need, trash pile, destroyed ship, survivors. Our storage is full. 600 of 600. We can either build a storage hut or we can upgrade our capacity here. We have enough plastic to do that. So instead of building something new with wood that we don't have, let's use plastic to upgrade our storage capacity at the town center. Okay, that's done. Oh, what was that? Oh, school of fish. A school of fish popped up right underneath us. Well, that was lucky. Great. This is 83% upgraded and 90, 91, yada, yada, yada. So gatherers, great. There goes our upgrade. Excellent. Gatherers bring the stuff up and then they put it in boxes. There's a box down there. I don't know if you can see it. It's dark. It's night. But they'll put the box there and then somebody has to come and grab the box and bring it back to the storage facility. And you can see up here in the upper right, we've got 3 people with no jobs, 4 people, 5 people with no jobs, 10 people actually at work doing stuff, 3 people carrying the boxes from the gatherers to the storage facility, and no guards and no rangers. I'm not gonna speed that up right now because we got to figure out what we're gonna do next. We're fine on metal. We don't really need to harvest up that ship. Drifting resource, rotting whale, trash pile. If there's nothing better to do, we may go for a trash pile. Sometimes if you don't have anything better to do, you can just sail off in a certain direction and see what you find. Just go exploring. Hope you get lucky. But with trash piles available to us, I think we'll do that. Okay. We got to get a greenhouse down, though. It's going to take more wood than we have, but let's at least get the construction started so that if we do find more wood, we'll be in a position to take advantage of it. Again, so you see that big fire icon pop up there? That means that we do not want to build this flammable building next to the fire starter. All right, the fish resource has been depleted. Let's head over to this trash pile and maybe we can bump into this drifting resource along the way. We 6 wood has washed up on the deep diver. We actually really needed that wood, so that's good. Kelp forest we didn't know was here. Might as well. That's a lot of kelp, but you know we have seen some trading posts. We could always trade away that kelp for something we could have more use for, like wood. Drifting resource, drifting resource, drifting resource. Resources aren't being picked up. We need more laborers. Well, we do have enough food. I think the next survivor raft we see will probably take them on board. We're up to 20 residents here, but our happiness is falling because we don't have any beer coming in. The kelp is gone. Let's head over to the trash pile. Yeah, no, if you're listening to the music, yeah, whatever. There's a high-pitched beep, beep, beep. Sounds like a car alarm. That was added recently. This track was added recently, and I like the track. I just think that that beep, beep, beep is going to get on people's nerves after a while. And I think that if they have the option of, if devs on a boat can take another look at that track and just maybe drop that beep, 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 beep sound, that'd probably be good. 30% of the trash left, 25. How you doing, guys? And it's all gone. Let's go over and grab those survivors and see if underwater peak and kelp forest. Now, underwater peaks are good but risky because they could blow at any time. An underwater peak will allow us to bring up more soil at a faster rate. So we got two. It's gonna blow. It's gonna blow. We gotta back off. The good news is that this eruption. We gotta back off more than that. This eruption will provide us with a special resource as soon as it blows. So let's just stay here until it pops. Maybe we can get a little bit closer. Oh, here it comes. You don't want to get too close, but I'd like to be close enough to see it. What? That was it? Oh, that was kind of an underwhelming eruption. All right, and it didn't provide us with the... oh, here it comes, here it comes. Pumice raft. Great. Pumice is useful for all kinds of things, and we are going to park on top of it and tell everybody to gather the pumice. I forget how. Oh, here we go. Gather pumice. So this should increase our happiness a little bit. Yeah, our happiness is going up now. It just went from 57 to 58. But there is a certain risk involved as they're fishing off the side of the raft. They can fall in and hurt themselves. See, they're lying down on the edge of the raft, scooping it up. Our happiness isn't going up anymore. I think we're basically balancing out. And it's gone. Okay. Let's get... looks like we've... a city... we've made a baby, for one thing. So we have one additional person on the city. We're going to rescue these survivors. Oh, shoot. That was 8. There, I should have looked at the raft a little bit closer. There were 8. We picked up 4 from the other... 4 from the other rafts and 8 from that one. That is going to potentially strain our food supply, but we've got 450 seaweed, so people shouldn't be starving. They're just not going to be very happy. Oil rig platform, this is new. We can get scrap metal and crude oil from that, but definitely going for the driftwood first. The greenhouse is still under construction. We're still waiting for, it looks like 5 wood. Yeah, still waiting for 5 wood to complete construction on the greenhouse. And we might start seeing some pirates. Initially, I think we're going to see pirate scouts, and we'll have different ways of dealing with them. But if the scouts see us and we don't deal with them properly, they will send a full pirate raid after us. And we're going to have to get some defenses down before that hits. But the good news is we are gathering wood, which means we can set our sights on even more construction. I think to begin with, Yeah, we need more storage for one thing. So I'm going to build a storage house. There are sortable tabs here. I'm not sure which one storage is under. Yeah, so just make more sense to find it this way, I think. Storehouse, there we go. Yeah, we can put that right in the middle. And we're also going to need a water evaporator, or 2 even. And this is, as I mentioned, a fire starter as well, so we'll put it over here with the smelter. These are both fire starters. They probably won't catch each other on fire, but who knows. People are getting pretty unhappy now. We've got to start thinking about a brewery. For that, we're going to need the grain that's produced at the greenhouse and the fresh water that's produced at the evaporator. We don't have enough wood to build a brewery right now, but that'll be our next priority. And we finished that driftwood pile. So let's look for another one. I'm going to slow things down while we look around. A whale. We would have to build a harpooner to take advantage of that. I'd love to have it right now, but we don't have the wood for it. That is another starting city, Buchar. Kelp Forest School of Fish. We are down to 1 fish. So I want to get over there, not for the kelp. We got plenty of kelp, but for the fish. This tiny little city probably isn't going to have anything to trade. But let's see. Oh. Oh, get out of here. They're invading? That's silly. All right, villagers, go get them. There were like 3 of them. What were they thinking? I think... Oh, we lost a few people there. Enemies killed... we lost 13 villagers in that engagement. I wasn't ready for it because I didn't for a second think that they were actually going to invade us. Floating corpse pile. Ugh. Gross. We're not going to eat those corpses, guys. I already told you. All right, so what were we heading toward? This. Yeah, I was not anticipating that they would try to invade us because they were just dispose of corpses. Prisoners of war. 31 prisoners of war? Well, we have no place to actually imprison them right now. So we're going to have to accept these prisoners into our city into our city as villagers. That's going to lower our happiness quite a bit, I think. But we've got no other option unless we want to kill them and throw them overboard or eat them, which we're not going to do. Darn, that did not go as expected. That was kind of jarring. We also kind of slammed into them kind of hard. That might have been my fault because we were moving at fast speed and we ended up, instead of docking with that city, we kind of rammed them, which I wasn't intending to do. That was an accident. I think it pissed them off. Yeah, we need another fisher here, but we need more wood to make that happen. Where are we going after this? Let's figure it out. Driftwood pile. That's probably where we're going. Oh, School of Fish. Stop there on the way, but really, if we go for the driftwood pile, the problem is this School of Fish could disappear. Ah, a trader is offering to trade. Yes, come and trade with us. In a minute, let's look around. Here he comes. Here comes the trade ship, the SS Seafoam. We depleted the kelp there, but we're still fishing. Yeah, schools of fish. Oh, there's another one here. We're sitting on top of 2 schools of fish. Darn, I wish I had wood to make another fisher. Maybe we can trade kelp for wood off of this trader when he arrives. All right, let us hold shift and do this by tens, and we'll send them 180, 190 kelp. Let's make it an even 200, and then get a little bit of wood, just enough to make another fisher. And then what else do we badly need? Bread. We don't have our bakery up and running yet. Let's get some bread. That's going to do it. That's about it. Bread's expensive. Maybe one piece of meat. No, it's too expensive for us. Oh, we can always sell a little bit more kelp. I don't want to sell too much. No, that's too much. Yeah, it's too much. In fact, I'm going to bring that back down to 190 and then adjust the trade value. That's fine. We'll give them a little tip. They're offering 188 worth. We're going to give them 190. People are getting really unhappy now, but that's kind of how it goes until you get a brewery up and running. As I mentioned, there are other ways to increase happiness. They're not, some of them are a little unsavory. Like if we do encounter a pirate scout, we could capture them and take them to the town center to be publicly executed. That would solve our happiness problems in a second. But that's not the way I like to run my city, if I can avoid it. Well, the wood that we got from that trader, it either hasn't reached the storehouse yet, or I think it's being brought directly to the smelter to fuel the smelter, which is not what we wanted to do. In which case, let's actually get a fisher built. They won't be able to complete it, but at least that'll be a priority for them the next time we get some wood. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up because we've got 2 fishing spots here, so got a lot of fishing to do. Yeah, I know people are very unhappy. Oh dear. I thought we saw a sunken brewery at one point, but I can't remember where it was. And I'm not seeing it now. Another school of fish. I think we're going to be done with the fishing after this one. Well, I mean, there's a whole nother one here. Why is only one fisher working? I'm not sure where the other fisherman went. He should be fishing too. Maybe he's on break. Took a vacation. It's down to 80%. But we're just barely hovering at 12, 13, 14 fish. It's not like we're stockpiling this stuff because the people are eating it first. They're eating it before the kelp. I'm going to head us over toward that driftwood pile and see if there might be a brewery down there, a sunken brewery. Yeah. Why did our fisherman stop fishing? It is an early. Oh, there he goes. He's supposed to be fishing now, but he's doesn't actually appear to be. Not from the school of fish anyway. It is an early access game. Sometimes there are issues. Let me do a quick save, quick quit, and reload. That actually tends to solve some of the stranger issues that pop up like that. Yeah, see, now they're both fishing from the fishing pile. The school of fish. Down to 40% on the school of fish. Speed this back up to fast. And then where was the driftwood we were going to head for? It was over here. There. Down to 16%. School of Fish is almost depleted. We need wood to get that brewery built, or people are going to start getting really angry with me. All right, let's go. I think I probably should have prioritized the brewery over the storehouse that we built. The next thing we built should have been the brewery. Shoot. Another school of fish. All right, get that wood, guys, and then I'll get us started on a brewery. This other fisher still hasn't been built. Yeah, definite improvements to these, the models for the buildings. That's it for wood. Man, that wasn't much wood. I'm going to slow us down again so we can figure out what to do next. Survivors, we don't need. Destroyed ship, drifting resource. Cracks is another city. Smaller than us. But we're not in a position to do any invading or anything. We don't have any military buildings at all. I got to get on that too. That's got to be our next priority. Okay, is the brewery built? Almost. We need a little bit more wood. Shoot. Well, we're heading for a trash pile. I think there's a chance we could get a couple of wood off of that, but probably not. Our happiness is in the red now. At this point, I'm kind of hoping a pirate scout shows up so that we can capture them and execute them and make everybody happy again. Because nothing cheers people up like a public execution. You know what I'm saying? Oh, look how depressed everybody is. Not good. Oh, but looks like a couple of pieces of wood coming in. All right, brewery is built. Now we just got to get him cranking out some beer. They're going to bring over some grain and some fresh water, and he's going to start pumping out some beer. And that should turn things around for us happiness-wise. And keep an eye on our beer production. He's working on it. Some upgrades that we could do eventually down here: increase the building's efficiency, increase its production rate, increase its storage capacity, and its special would be that villagers gain a small amount of happiness when walking nearby. There are also certain little kind of side structures that you can build that help with happiness. A lamp post can help. A fire pit can help. But all these things require resources. They all require wood, for one thing, which we don't have enough of. And some of them only work at night. So the cure-all is the brew. So I'm focused on that right now. We've got 6, which means people will be starting to come to grab some beer and get happy again. That was it. The 6 is done, but our happiness just went from 29 to 41%. So people are still unhappy, but as we make more beer, we should have fixed that happiness issue. Another kelp forest and school of fish over here. But really, we need driftwood right there. We'll just grab, I'm just going to fish up this school of fish since it's on the way, and then we'll head over to the driftwood pile. Go ahead and speed this back up. Check on our brewer. How's he doing? He's working overtime, getting that beer brewed. People are getting a little bit hungry for some reason. I think they did. Oh, storm! Shoot! A storm is coming from that direction. You get a little bit of warning. I did not see the warning pop up. And the thing with storms is when you see that warning, you got to stay on the move because it's the time that it takes you to get the city up to speed that will determine whether or not you can avoid a storm. If the storm goes over you, lightning will hit the city and your buildings will catch fire and take damage and so on and so forth. So we got lucky that time. We were not moving when we got the indication, but it looks like we probably avoided all damage from it. I know you guys want to see this get hit by lightning, right? I know you do. All right, let's go. Yeah, we got lucky. Even trying to get hit by lightning, we didn't. Good. Some buildings can be upgraded with lightning rods so that they don't take damage if they do end up under a storm. But yep, let's try to bank some driftwood. People are still a little bit unhappy, but that'll be, well, we're fixing that. It's just, it's a process. Okay. Oh, was there something else in the water here? I thought I saw something else. No? Okay. Drifting resource over there. Looks like probably wood or garbage, maybe. Where do we go from here? Not seeing much of anything out that way. Or that way. I think we're going to curve around and head back. Oh, there's another driftwood pile. Okay. So that'll be our next destination. Get to work, folks. Okay, we've got 48 wood. Now we can think about what to build next. Actually, I think I'm gonna use, we've got a lot of plastic. I'm going to, hold on, let's slow this down a little bit so I can make some decisions here. I'm going to upgrade our smelter. 50 population, it's like too much. That's too much. I feel like we're kind of rushing this a little bit. I'm going to do the special upgrade here, which is going to take 40 plastic and 10 soil, but it's going to help us conserve wood by creating charcoal that we can then use to power the smelter again. Okay, that's good. Where was the driftwood? And you see all of our unhappiness icons have vanished, so people are gradually getting a little bit happier from the beer. We're going to be passing right over a kelp forest school of fish. I think we should probably stop. We're down to 2 fish. That's the upgrade. We completed the smelter upgrade. I'm going to slow this down. We're going to do some fishing and some kelp gathering and think about what to build next. We could build another deep diver. We're hardly bringing in any soil at all. And you need soil every time you plant a new crop of grain. You need a little bit of soil for that. So we're going to do another deep diver. And then what? I don't think we need a trapper at this point because you get the most benefit from those when after you've built a galley where the shellfish can actually be cooked safely. So let's not do that. Another recycler, we don't need another smelter, we don't need. We might need another evaporator. Wait a minute, we have 2 evaporators already? No, that can't be right. No, we don't. But we're going to make one. And then we should think about building a bakery, I think should be next. Bakery is a fire starter, so we're going to keep it over on this side with the other fire starters. And for the bakery to operate, we're going to need a mill to turn the grain into flour. So let's get one of those built as well. Mill is not any kind of fire starter, and I don't think it's flammable either, no. So we can basically put that wherever we want. Put it right here in the middle. And that's used up all of our wood, but we're heading for a driftwood pile, so. A little bit of fog rolling in. That was the other evaporator built. City has gained 1 tech point. School of Fish depleted. We're heading for the driftwood pile. And I have to figure out what those tech points are used for. I won't try to figure it out with you. In fact, why don't we call it an episode here, and I will figure out how to use my 2 tech points. And we'll do probably do another episode or 2 of this. But yeah, I just like to check back in on it every once in a while and see some of the updates. I mean, you can go back 2 years if you want to see my first video on this early access game and judge for yourself what kind of progress they've been making. But for now, thanks for watching, everybody. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. There'll be more coming. Stay safe, survivors.